Hello and welcome to the Quizmaster Challenge, the academic quiz show featuring the brightest minds in Montgomery County schools. I'm Kurt Richter, and I'm the Quizmaster. And today I'll challenge these young minds as they challenge each other in a battle of brains and buzzer speed. We'll see who wins today's playoff match and moves on to the next round. Today's playoff match features last year's champions, the Bulldogs of Winston Churchill High School in Potomac, and our 9th seed, the Patriots of Thomas S. Wooton High School in Rockville. Let's get started with our Four Corners round. Teams, you'll have a chance to answer blocks of 4 questions worth 20 points each, and no penalty for a wrong answer. We flipped a coin before the show, and Wooton won the toss. So please choose among the following 4 categories: N's in O, Shakespeare tragedies, colleges and universities, and the year 1996.
Colleges and universities.
For your first 20 points in colleges and universities, the big 3 Ivies include Harvard, Yale, and what third university which was founded in 1746?
Princeton.
Princeton is right. For your second 20 points, to what city in North Carolina would you travel to find the main campus of Duke University?
I think it's Durham.
Durham is right. For another 20 points, what Maryland Honors College is the southernmost college in the state?
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's is correct. And for your final 20 points on colleges and universities, according to the U.S. Department of Education, the largest university in the United States by enrollment is what online institution whose headquarters are in Arizona?
University of Phoenix.
All 4 correct for 80 points. Now we move to Churchill. Please choose a category.
What do we want? Ends with O?
Ends in O is good.
All right. Ends with O.
Ends in O. For your first chance at 20 points, what word that ends in the letter O is a strong, aggressive, or exaggerated sense or show of masculinity?
Macho.
Macho is right. For another 20 points, what is a Mexican dish consisting of a fried tortilla, typically folded, filled with various mixtures such as seasoned meat, beans, lettuce, and tomatoes?
Taco.
Taco is right. What is a roofed structure that offers an open view of the surrounding area, typically used for relaxation or entertainment?
Gazebo.
Gazebo is right. And to close out the category ends in O, what is an indirect or subtle, usually derogatory or suggestive implication or insinuation?
Innuendo.
Innuendo is correct. After that, you now have 80 points as well. Now please choose a category to give to Wooton.
We'll give them Shakespeare tragedies. Yeah. We'll give them Shakespeare tragedies.
Okay, for your first chance in 20 points, which Shakespeare tragedy begins with these lines, which are spoken by 3 witches? When shall we 3 meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
Macbeth.
Macbeth is right. Next, in what Shakespearean tragedy does Polonius tell his son Laertes, "To thine own self be true"?
Hamlet.
Hamlet is correct. For another 20 points, in what play by Shakespeare does the teenage heroine say about her love, "When he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars"?
Romeo and Juliet.
That's right. And to wrap up the category, in what Shakespeare tragedy does the villain state, "But I will wear my heart upon my sleeve"?
Julius Caesar.
Looking for Othello there. Now we're going to move to the year 1996 for your first chance at 20 points. In May of 1996, a sudden storm killed 8 climbers on what tallest mountain on Earth?
Everest.
Everest is correct. For another 20 points, what video game console was released in Japan, named in part for the number of bits in its central processing unit, which brought Super Mario into 33 million homes and was named Machine of the Year by Time magazine?
Nintendo 64.
That's right. The Summer Olympics in what U.S. city were marred by a bombing in the game's Centennial Park?
Atlanta.
Atlanta is right. And to close out the category, the year 1996, what geophysical phenomenon, widely blamed for melting ice caps today, was proclaimed by the Hoover Institute to be beneficial to Americans, including possibly reducing the mortality rate?
Global warming.
Global warming is correct. And after our first round, we have a score of Winston Churchill 160 and Wooton 140. Now we move to our 10-point toss-up round. teams, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer toss-up questions worth 10 points. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. However, if you're wrong, the other team will get to hear the question in its entirety. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. For 10 points, our first up for grabs is on logic. Listen to this argument. If P, then Q. Not Q, therefore not P.
Churchill.
Or Ponens. Modus ponens.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. What is the two-word Latin name of this logical argument, also known as denying the consequent?
Wooton.
Defer.
Modus tenens?
Modus tollens is what we're looking for. Here's a 10-point toss-up on popular music. What is the stage name of Stephanie Joanne Angelina?
Churchill.
Lady Gaga. Yeah. Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga is right. Our next 10-point toss-up is on ecology. What insect was studied extensively by E.O. Wilson, professor of entomology at Harvard, and author of a bestseller entitled Letters to a Young Scientist?
Churchill.
Ants. It's ants. It's ants.
Ants.
Ants is correct. Let's go to the monitor now for a question on current events. In what Russian city is this train?
Churchill.
Need an answer from you.
St. Petersburg.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. In what Russian city is this train station located, which was recently attacked by suicide bombers?
Wooton.
Volkstag.
Tough, it's Volgograd. Our next topic is algebra. Pick up your pencils and answer this question. A bus is moving at a rate of 110 kilometers per hour. How far will it travel in 3 hours and 6 minutes?
Oh, wow.
We buzzed into it earlier.
Wooton.
341.
341 kilometers is right. Our
It's not-
next
it's
question
fine.
is on science.
Okay.
Diamonds, graphite,
Carbon.
charcoal,
Churchill.
Carbon.
Carbon.
they are all of carbon. We're halfway through the 10-point round, and we have a score of Winston Churchill 190 and Wooton 150. This next 10-point toss-up deals with literature and film. The 2010 film Easy A, starring Emma Stone.
Yeah. Scarlet Letter by
Churchill.
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
That's right, it was the Scarlet Letter. Here's a 10-point visual toss-up on history. Who is this congresswoman and civil rights leader from Texas who made history in 1974 when she recommended to the House Judiciary Committee that they investigate the impeachment of President Richard Nixon?
Churchill.
I don't know her name.
Was the warrant? It was the warrant.
Washington.
I don't know.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Would you like to give it a shot? That's Barbara Jordan.
Okay.
For 10 points on poetry, in what meter is the 14-line poem known?
Churchill.
Iambic pentameter.
That's right.
Okay.
Our next 10-point toss-up is on games. In what game, which is thought to have been invented in India or Afghanistan prior to 600 AD, and for which Norwegian
Churchill.
Chess.
chess, that is correct.
Nice.
Here's a 10-point toss-up on local history and literature. What American writer and his wife Zelda,
Churchill.
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
right, buried here in Maryland.
Yeah.
And to finish off our 10-point round, here's a selective response question on explorers. Listen carefully to the following dates: 1189, 1275, and 1350.
Churchill.
Marco Polo.
Sorry, that's not what I'm looking for here. I was asking, in which of these years did Marco Polo claim to have reached China?
Wooton.
1350.
It is 1275. And at the end of our 10-point round,
whatever.
we have a score of Winston Churchill 230 and Thomas Wooton 150. Let's now take a second to meet our contestants. First, let's start with the team from Winston Churchill.
Hi, I'm Yusuf Khan. I'm a 17-year-old senior from Winston Churchill High School. I'd like to thank our coach, Mr. Hazard, who unfortunately couldn't make it to this taping.
Hi, I'm Nikhil Parancherry. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Winston Churchill High School, and I'd like to thank our wonderful principal, Dr. Benz.
Hi, I'm Dominic Singer. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Winston Churchill High School, and I'd like to thank the rest of our team for helping us prepare.
Hi, I'm Andrew Crutchfield. I'm a 17-year-old senior. And I'd like to thank our wonderful multivariable and economics teacher, Ms. Malinowski, as well as our family and friends for supporting us.
The coach of the Churchill team, who unfortunately couldn't be here, is Mr. Neil Hazard, a parent volunteer who is in his 3rd year coaching the team. Now let's meet the team from Wooton High School.
Hi, my name is Eve Fleissig. I'm a 9th grader at Wooton High School, and I'm 13 years old. I'd like to thank all the other members of our team who couldn't make it today.
Hi, I'm Barnabas Lee. I'm an 18-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank Mr. Bentley, our wonderful coach.
Hi, I'm Saad Rashid. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and I'd like to thank Dr. Doran, our principal.
Hi, I am Prahalad Sarma. I am a 15-year-old sophomore, and I would like to thank Mr. Bentley for enabling this club.
The coach for the Wooton High School team is Brett Bentley. Mr. Bentley is a graduate of Mercyhurst University. He teaches AP Chemistry, and this is his 9th year coaching the team. Thanks for being here. I'd also like to say thanks to the student crew here at Richard Montgomery High School, who under the direction of Eric Rodney make our broadcast possible. Let's go ahead and move to the 15-point toss-up round. Like before, you'll have a chance to answer questions worth 15 points each. No penalty for a wrong answer. However, once again, if you're wrong, the other team will get to hear the entire questions. So hands on your buzzers, and let's get started. Our first toss-up is on science. In 1961, Green Bank, West Virginia was the site for the first conference attended by Carl Sagan, Frank Drake, and others to explore an investigation described by the acronym SETI.
Churchill.
Search for extraterrestrial life.
Search for extraterrestrial life.
Well, I was looking for just extraterrestrial, so that is correct. Next, here's a 15-point toss-up question on history and literature. In 1890, U.S. soldiers killed 300 unarmed Native American men, women.
Churchill.
Yeah, just say bury my heart at Wounded Knee.
Buried My Heart at Wounded Knee by Benet.
Wounded Knee is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Players, look at the monitor for a 15-point visual question on presidential history.
No.
Who was the third-party candidate for president?
Churchill.
Yeah.
Ross Perot.
Ross Perot, running against
Nice.
Bill Clinton and George H.W. Bush. For 15 points, here's a question on authors. What playwright wrote a 3-act Pulitzer Prize-winning play in 1938 in which a stage manager is the major character?
Churchill.
Our Town by Wilder.
Wilder.
That is correct, and the play was Our Town. Our next toss-up is a question on film. What is the title of a 1968 science fiction movie rated the best science fiction?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Churchill.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
That's right. Check the monitors, player, for this question on if they tweeted. What scientists might have posted this?
Wait.
Churchill.
Einstein.
Einstein. Albert Einstein.
Einstein is correct. We're halfway through the 15-point round, and we have a score of Winston Churchill 320 and Wooton 150. Let's continue with the 15-point question on government. Although the highest court in the Commonwealth of Virginia is the Supreme Court of Virginia, the highest court in the state of Maryland goes by
Churchill.
Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals.
Court of Appeals is correct. Next, we have a 15-point question on science. What co-discoverer of DNA structure wrote about his collaboration with Francis Crick?
Watson.
Churchill.
Watson.
James Watson
Yeah,
is
we just need
correct.
one.
Back to the monitor players
that
for
wouldn't
this
have been
15-point matching question on literary terms.
Churchill.
Simile is face was as red as a beet. Metaphor is life is a brief candle. Onomatopoeia is clang, boom, bang. Alliteration is Peter Piper picked.
That's right. Here's a 15-pointer on space. What planet has a moon with an orange-like hue named Titan?
Churchill.
Jupiter, because Saturn is Triton, so Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Sorry, that's incorrect.
Wooton.
Saturn.
Saturn is correct. Here's a 15-point question on environmental science. What conservation society Founded by John Muir and others.
Churchill.
Sierra Club.
Sierra
Nice
Club
buzz.
is correct. And we wrap up the round with this 15-point selective response question on vocabulary. Listen to this list of words: anachronistic, pallid, profane. Which word means vulgar?
Churchill.
Profane.
Profane is correct. And that's the end of the third round, where we have a score of Winston Churchill 395 and Wooton 165. It's now time for the bonus round. Teams, you'll have an opportunity to answer toss-up questions worth 15 points each. If you're right, you get an opportunity for bonus points of 20, 25, or 30 points. Again, no penalty for a wrong answer, but in the event of a wrong answer, the other team will hear the entire question and get a shot at those bonus points. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. Our first 15-point toss-up is on mathematics, leading to a 30-point bonus on chemistry. What is the name for the quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides, parallel and congruent?
Churchill.
Yes, square. No square and congruent.
Need an answer from you?
Rhombus.
Sorry, that is incorrect. The question is complete.
Wooton.
Square.
Looking for a parallelogram there. Okay, we're playing now for a 20-point bonus on towers, but first a 15-point visual toss-up on women in history. On the monitor, you see what teenager who, along with her family, hid during World...
Wooton.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank is correct. For 10 points each and 20 points for both, answer these questions on towers. For 10 points, here's the first bonus on towers. What Italian tower, occupied by the Germans during World War II, was purposefully not destroyed by the Allies due to the tower's beauty?
Pisa.
Could you say the full name?
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
That's right. For another 10 points, what British tower saw the execution of 12 men for espionage during World War II?
Tower of London.
Tower of London is correct. Here's your next 15-point toss-up on U.S. history. Turn a chance at a 25-point bonus on American poetry. In 1892, what immigration station?
Churchill.
Ellis Island.
Ellis Island is correct. For 25 points, answer these 5-point American poetry questions by identifying the author of each selection. First, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by.
Robert Frost.
Robert Frost is right. Second, I taste a liquor never brewed from tankards scooped in pearl.
No idea.
I have no idea. Just guess Whitman.
Whitman.
It's Emily Dickinson. Third, I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume.
Whitman.
Whitman is correct. Fourth, once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary.
Edgar Allan Poe.
That's right. And finally, the cow is of the bovine ilk. One end is moo, the other milk.
Dr. Seuss. Really? All right, Dr. Seuss.
Though it sounds like it, it's Ogden Nash. Okay, we have a 30-point bonus on grammar and word usage, but here's a 15-point visual toss-up on landmarks. What is this official London residence?
Wooton.
Buckingham Palace.
That is Buckingham Palace. Here are 3 10-point questions on grammar and word usage. First, yikes, I'm late for class. What part of speech is yikes in this sentence?
Interjection.
It is an interjection. Next, although she gave hundreds of tomatoes away, the enormous number left over frightened her. What part of speech is although in that sentence?
Conjunction.
It is a conjunction. Finally, in the sentence, they pondered if there truly was honor among thieves. What part of speech is the word among?
Preposition.
It is a preposition, that's right. Once again, 30 points is up for grabs on geography as you answer this 15-pointer on history. What abolitionist raided the U.S. Armory?
Wooton.
John Brown.
John Brown at Harper's Ferry. Here are 3 10-point questions on geography. First, what bay, which is the largest in the world, borders India's east coast?
Bay of Bengal.
The Bay of Bengal is correct. Next, what mountains lie in the southern part of Turkey, just north of the Gulf of Antalya? You have an answer?
Urgal.
Those are the Taurus Mountains. And finally, the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth, is in what South American country?
Chile.
Chile is correct. Here's a 15-point toss-up on human anatomy to get a chance at a 20-point visual bonus on the government. In human beings, what major organ is responsible for the processing of alcohol?
Churchill.
Liver.
The liver is correct. Let's go to the monitor one last time for a 20-point, two-part question on the government. First, originally named Shangri-La when established by President Roosevelt, what is the common name for this presidential retreat in the Catoctin Mountains?
Camp David.
Camp David is correct. And now, in 1978, the Camp David Accords were signed by Israel and what other nation?
Egypt.
Egypt is right. Here's a 15-point toss-up on sports, which will earn you a chance at a 25-point bonus at the music of 2013. What baseball player sold by the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees?
Wooton.
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is right, responsible for the curse of the Bambino, so they say.
Oh, okay.
Answer these five-point questions on the music of 2013. First, what quartet had hits with Radioactive and Demons?
Imagine Dragons.
That's right. Second, who shocked the music world by releasing an album with no prior announcement or promotion?
Beyonce.
Beyonce's right. Third, what new artist ruled the charts for months with her song Royals?
Lord.
Correct. Fourth, what AMA favorite country male artist had hits including Crash My Party and That's My Kind of Night?
Defer.
Luke Bryan.
That's right. And finally, what singer of When I Was Your Man was chosen to headline this year's Super Bowl halftime show?
Bruno Mars.
You got him right. We have now a 30-point bonus on insects if you can answer this 15-pointer on world plays. In what play by Henrik Ibsen?
Wooton.
Dollhouse.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Does a woman named Nora walk out on her husband in a time when such things were not done?
Churchill.
Need an answer from you?
A Doll's House.
Yes, that is correct. I needed the exact title. For your first 10 points, what is the name of the polymer of glucose which makes up most of insects' exoskeletons?
Exoskeleton.
Chitin.
Chitin is correct. For an additional 10 points, the three sections of an insect are its head, abdomen, and what
thorax,
central
yeah.
portion
Yeah.
of its body?
Thorax.
Thorax is right. And finally, for 10 points, what beneficial insect has been the victim of colony collapse disorder, leading to greatly reduced numbers of this essential insect?
Yeah, you're right. It's bees.
Bee.
I do need you to be more specific.
Honeybees.
Honeybee.
You got it right.
Yeah, okay.
Here's a 15-point history of film toss-up to earn a chance at a 20-point bonus on Asia. The films The Birds, Psycho,
Churchill.
Alfred Hitchcock is correct. For 10 points each, 20 points for both, answer these questions on Asia. First, many medieval structures remain in Esfahan, which became capital of what country in 1598 under Shah Abbas?
Mughal.
I need an answer.
India.
It's Iran.
Okay, whatever.
And your second 10-pointer, eel, is a culinary specialty of what third largest city in Japan, site of the 1970 World's Fair? That sound means we have just 2 minutes left.
Try Kyoto.
Kyoto.
It is Osaka.
Okay.
Here's your final 10-point, final toss-up of the game in the category It's Elementary, which will give you a chance at a 30-point bonus on the 1970s. Which chemical element has the highest electronegativity?
Churchill.
Fluorine.
Fluorine is correct. Okay, first for 10 points. What former governor of Maryland was the vice president of the United States in 1971?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Spiro Agnew.
Spiro Agnew is correct. For another 10 points, in 1970, on what college campus did National Guard troops fire their weapons, killing 4 and wounding 9?
Kent State.
Kent State is right. And for the final 10 points, in 1976, what American novelist, author of The Bonfire of the Vanities, coined the term the Me Decade to describe the 1970s?
The bonfire.
Who's an author in 76?
The bonfire. Not John Carroll.
Need an answer from you?
It's not it.
Ginsburg. No,
It's
that's
Tom Wolfe.
Tom
And that's our
Wolfe, okay.
final question of the
I don't know.
game. We'll check the scores in just a moment, but I'd like to say thanks to the sponsor of Quizmaster Challenge, Gladiator Trophies, serving the Washington, D.C. area for nearly 40 years. Rewarding life's victories since 1976 is Gladiator Trophies. And at the end, we have a score of Winston Churchill, 555, and Wooton, 320. Winston Churchill will return to compete against Walter Johnson in a quarter-final match. Join us in February for our next 2 playoff matches as Whitman takes on Clarksburg and Rockville takes on Gaithersburg. Until then, I'm your Quizmaster, Kurt Richter, reminding you to always keep learning.